If the house is built before 1960, they prefer it to be a brick or block structure, right? If it's built after 1960, it don't matter. They'll buy anything, right? But built before 1960, brick or block is the way to go. Best practice that I can tell you guys, obviously we have a larger buy box area right here, right? But what I'm finding most effective is going straight to the retail fund 2 boxes, and we're just going heavy in these markets. So Atlanta, Charlotte, Raleigh, Jacksonville, Tampa, Orlando, Nashville, Miami. Actually exclude, so Miami is in retail fund 2, right? They're still aggressive. That's the only market that retail fund 1 is not in, right? But all these other ones, these 7 cities right here, we can double up, and with us submitting them to both funds, it positions us the best to get the maximum offer, right? So I've seen, both funds might come in and I can go with the highest and best offer with one of them. Or we've also seen it come back like, hey, retail fund 2 is like, oh, we're not buying in the specific zip code or pocket right now, but retail 1 picks it up, right? So I'll go further into the strategies on how we're doing that stuff. But my suggestion would be to double down on any of these markets, because that's positioning us best to really get out there and get some full price offers on these. I got you a buy box folder that we open up for you guys. It's got a zip code list, so you can go directly to the market that you're active in, right? If you guys are doing this virtually, which that's my whole model is virtual now, right? We're in South Carolina. 90% of my business is out of state because you just can't keep up with it, right? So we provide you guys with a zip code list where you can reverse engineer this into your marketing. I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably using PropStream or whatever tools you're doing. But use these zip codes if you're doing your direct marketing, right? Because these are the hot buy box areas that we give you guys the zip code list. You can go out there and hammer down with that, right? On the other side of it, if you're not doing the direct to seller and you're trying to build relationships with like real estate agents or different people, this strategy works. I never thought about trying to pitch my business to a real estate agent, but that's also because I never had a buyer that pays retail value, right? So anyways, a lot of different strategies with it, but we'll go in further detail with those later on. Again, fund 2, I would suggest doubling down on these markets. Here's your max purchase price. So I would say anything 100,000 to 350 ARV. We got the offers. Now the sweet spot with this, I'm seeing the best results, I would say, in properties where the contract price is between properties between we'll say 100, 110 to 270, right? Maybe all the way up to 300,000. But where I'm going with this is they are a buy and hold investor, right? So obviously they're accounting their numbers on the cap rate. So they're buying at roughly a 5% cap, which is crazy, right? They're buying at a 5 cap. What we're finding is the deals that get towards the top of the buy box with both fund, right? They're not coming in quite as aggressive because obviously a higher end property, it's hard enough to account for the high enough rent rate to make sense for a rental, right? So again, best results, like I'm seeing the 110 to 270, maybe even up to like 300, to be honest, especially in like Atlanta, Jacksonville, all the Florida markets. They love those areas. Charlotte, Raleigh, they're going crazy in these markets. But I'm just saying this to kind of get you guys prepared if we do end up partnering, if we do work together. I don't want you shocked if, the fund, we submit a deal that's kind of above it, and you never know what they're going to spit back, but they do account for the numbers based on the annual property taxes if there's an HOA amount or not, that gets factored into the offer. And obviously what they can warrant for rent, right? So my goal is to really just give you guys the tools, right, to show you, hey, these are the buy box areas. If you can take this information and reverse engineer it into your marketing, right, for those of you that are using PropStream, you can literally just copy the zip code list, right? So go in here, you get your copy 4 of them, go into PropStream, load it up. And you just plug it in the system, right? Boom. I found when I paste more than 4 zip codes in PropStream, I don't know what it is, but it seems to exclude some addresses, right? So 4 is kind of the sweet spot that I've found when I'm doing the data real quick. So I just copy 4, go over, paste it in here, and then you could go through your filters, right? So based on the information we know, right, we could follow this, or this opens it up a little more because Fund 1 buys 3-bed, 1 bath and up. Fund 2 will actually buy 2-bed, 1 bath and up. Only caveat, which I don't want to load you guys with too much information, but Fund 2, if the house is built before 1960, they prefer it to be a brick or block structure, right? If it's built after 1960, it don't matter. They'll buy anything, right? But built before 1960, brick or block is the way to go. What's that? To the meeting? All right. My wife said let her back in. So Lisa, my wife, who you guys will meet in a minute, she helps with the underwriting on our side. She submits all the deals to the fund. We've submitted enough of these through that we have pretty good confidence level on what we're looking at. And we have found with some of our newer partners when we're getting started, they need just to have the confidence, because this is a new type of gig. Obviously, you're contracting a house that's closer to retail value. There's going to be uncertainty, right? But we're building out the back end processes. You guys can currently see I'm building a course that I'm going to open up for our partners that's completely free, right? If we empower you guys, we equip you with the tools. We all win, right? We bring a full price offer. If the numbers work, we JV it, split profits, right? But what we're finding is, man, if we got a house that's close to retail value and I can still pull out a 20K spread, we're making 10K just from like a house that you would have passed by and never entertained, right? If you have a true deal, which we got several on the board, one of our partners is going to make a lot of money this month, right? But anyways, we're really working to build out the process on the back end just to help with a little bit more in-depth information. But everything here is built out to kind of give you a rough roadmap, right? And you just plug in your info from there. So if we're targeting Fund 2, boom, the zip codes I pulled, I copied Tampa, right? All right, let's go to Tampa. We know that we got 2-bed, 1 bath and up, 19. So this one, because they prefer the brick or block before 60, I'll probably just plug that in. Residential, single family home, 2-bed, 1 bath and up, 800 square feet or greater. Year built, I'm just going to put 1960. That way there's no question on the exterior type. We know anything should fly, right? Depending what list you guys like to hit, obviously you got your quick list choices. Tired landlords and failed listings seem to be the best with us, because the failed listing, they've already raised their hand. They're interested in selling. We can offer them more than a traditional wholesale deal, so those work pretty good. Tired landlords is probably the hottest list across the board, right? I personally like to put the tired landlord list together myself because I feel like I can get a little more motivation. So on market, no. Down to ownership info. This is where we can start to kind of dial it down, right? If you guys already got your list that you pull, I don't want to change anything you're doing. Keep doing it, right? If you're successful, you already got the sauce. Don't change up what you're doing, right? I'm just showing you kind of what we've been doing, you know? So of course you can hit your tired landlords and everything else already meets up, right? For valuation and equity, I'm putting maybe 20% equity, right? That's really all we need. In the past, I've always gone for 50, right? But that 20% equity is a sweet spot. Seller's still going to cash out and make money. Tired landlords, boom, once it pulls it up, pull your list, right? If I'm doing something myself and I really want to dial it in, I go a little bit further and I go to the character, let's see, owner information. I'll do like 10 years minimum ownership, right? We'll do non-owner occupied, so that's an absentee owner. Individual, right? And that should really dial it down and narrow our list enough to make it in. But that's a call and a training for another day. I don't want to get lost in the weeds with this because, again, a lot of you guys already got your marketing going. I want to focus on getting you guys comfortable with the buy box areas, right? So you have the confidence to go in, that you can look at the markets, right? You can dial that into your marketing, or you can network with other investors to source deals in these areas and just cut you loose, right? You guys go out there, find some opportunities. Let's make it happen.